what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The New York SAFE Act is both unconstitutional and immoral. Do not allow your government to chisel away the very core of this great nation. As we all know, freedom does not come free. Thomas Jefferson wrote, "Government big enough to supply everything you need is big enough to take away everything you have." The course of history shows that if government grows, the liberty decreases from the people. I thank those who have changed their daily, even monthly schedule to dedicate both their time and energy in voicing our support for the Constitution and the Second Amendment. Through thick and thin, we have banded together to ensure that our voices are heard and our rights remain intact. To Governor Cuomo and other legislative leaders who have voted for this act, you have wronged the law-abiding citizens and have continued to do so for your own political aspirations and gain. You thought that once this act was passed, we would not make a sound, but you were wrong. We are here, we are fighting, and we will continue to fight, just as our founding fathers have done. Thank you.
Sometimes you've got to stand up and be counted. Are you standing up today?
Yeah!
Are we being counted today?
Yeah!
Thank you for being here. And as Thomas Jefferson said, the Constitution asserts that the power is in the people. We are feeling the power today because it's in all of you. You know, we take our responsibility to uphold the Constitution very, very seriously. And that's what you're doing by standing up today. And I can't thank you enough for all that you do, because this is about a profound and fundamental right that makes us unique as Americans It's our freedom. And we have to stand up for our freedom. You know, Ronald Reagan once said that our freedom is something that doesn't get passed along through our bloodstream to our children. It's something that we have to protect, that we have to fight for, and we have to make sure that it's passed along to our children so that they can do the same. So thank you so much for standing up for us, for our state, for our country. God bless all of you, and most of all, God bless America.
Thank you, Kathy.
A few years ago, Tom, I was honored by being named the Legislator of the Year of the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association. Thank you for that honor. Right now, we have 10,000 people who deserve the honor of Citizen of the Year from the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. And I especially want to thank you for exercising your First Amendment rights to protect your Second Amendment rights. It's my honor to serve in the New York State Senate. And every year, after the term is up, we have to declare in an oath of office, in raising our right hand and saying, we swear to defend the Constitution of the State of New York and the Constitution of the United States of America. You are helping us defend those sacred documents today. And remember that Constitution. That Constitution, our Constitution, was born by the blood of patriots. And it's made stronger throughout our nation's history because of the actions of our veterans. But now, we're seeing those rights eroded by those who are misguided, by those who are searching for ways to end gun violence. And they're telling us we don't need a certain type of firearm. They're telling us that we don't need a certain number of bullets. Some are saying, and this galls me the most, that we don't need that gun to kill a deer. Well, let's tell them, we do not have a constitutional right to deer hunt. We have a constitutional right to bear arms, and that's what this is all about.
First of all, good afternoon. It's funny that they should call this the SAFE Act, isn't it? It's the SAFE Act for criminals, for gangbangers. That's who the SAFE Act is for. What this legislation did was make it the unsafe act for law-abiding citizens when they trampled on our Second Amendment rights. I hadn't intended to speak today. I was one of 18 strong that was upset how this legislation was passed in the middle of the night, without the sunlight, without the public, without anyone having an opportunity to weigh in. Only being able to see this legislation 1 hour before it was before us. And I know when anything like that comes before you, it's always a piece of crap that always should be voted out. I have been a senator for 14 years. I have never seen a crowd this big. You inspire me to fight on. But I would ask one thing of you. If we are going to continue to fight on, you have to promise me that you will be here day after day, not necessarily here, but fighting this issue till we repeal this damn law, which is no good, which is unconstitutional.
Here you go.
Hi, my name is Aileen Gunther. I represent the 100th Assembly District. I want to give a shout out to Sullivan County and to Orange County, all of my friends that came to Albany today. I am a member of the NRA and I have a legal pistol license I can carry. I voted no for the SAFE Act. I'm the granddaughter, the daughter, the wife of a wife, and also the aunt of police officers. My father carried a gun each and every day. My father-in-law carried a gun each and every day. We went through background checks. We carried our guns legally. We are legal gun owners in New York State, and we're proud of it. I thank you for coming to Albany today. It means a lot to so many of us. We'll continue the good fight, and I'm glad to see so many women just like me in the crowd. Thank you very much.
Americans came here, founded this country, and lived here not because they wanted to be obsessed with politics, but because they wanted to live free. They wanted to earn a living. They wanted their children to be educated. They wanted to enjoy a free life as free citizens in a free society. But throughout our history, when Americans sense that their rights are threatened from abroad or domestically, they have always been willing to step up to the plate and fight for those rights against any enemy, foreign or domestic. That's why you're here today, and that's why I'm here with you. You know, down in Washington they say, well, the NRA is simply a special interest. My answer is yes, we are. We represent the American people. We fight for the Constitution. We fight for the Bill of Rights. We fight for the rights of free people everywhere. And for those of us who believe in those rights, and who, unlike some of our political leaders, have not only read the Constitution, know that the Second Amendment doesn't apply simply to squirrel hunting, and understand the importance of the Second Amendment and the Bill of Rights to the nature of the country we live in, we all have a special interest in our future and the kind of country we're going to pass on to our children and grandchildren. That's why we're here, that's why I'm here, and that's why you're here. You know, our strength does not come from the fact that we are a, quote, special interest, or that we represent one small group of folks in our society. We at the NRA, we did have 4 million members. Pretty soon we'll have 5 million members, thanks to the folks that are joining in this battle. Our strength comes from the fact that the members of the NRA and the broader community of Second Amendment believers in this country is not simply made up of Republicans or conservatives or Democrats or liberals or factory owners. It's made up of all Americans, farmers, union workers, and all of the rest, police officers and veterans. And because of that, and because of the fact that we, as believers in the Second Amendment, are willing to do something most people in this country are not willing to do, which is not just to stand up for our rights, but to support those people who stand with us and work to get rid of those in public office who do not. You know, a few minutes ago, when I was up here, Tom said, well, Dave's not going to have to wait a few minutes because we've got a few senators and assembly people who've got to get back to work who need to speak. I was happy to stand aside because here they're allowed to speak. When they get up there with this governor and the leadership that he's imposed upon them, they don't get to speak. They don't get to do what you elected them to do.
He's a tyrant!
And we need to change that. We need to change it here, and we need to change it elsewhere. So we're with you. We'll help you defeat the politicians that would deprive you of your rights. We'll help you overcome these statutes in court. We'll do whatever is necessary to make certain that the Second Amendment rights that we have had passed down to us are going to be passed down to future generations. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking, but I want to close with a little bit of a story. Some years ago in Moscow, there was a dinner honoring General Kalishnikov on the occasion of his 85th birthday. General Kalishnikov, as you'll recall, was the tank driver who in his spare time in World War II invented the AK-47. And he's one of the few heroes that Russia has, because they had a 70-year period there where it was hard to find one. So they held a banquet honoring the general, and Mr. Putin got up at the conclusion of the banquet to toast him on the occasion of his 85th birthday. General Kalishnikov held up his glass in Mr. Putin's face, looked him in the eye, and said, "Mr. President Putin, my dream is a country like the United States, governed by men and women not afraid of an armed citizenry." Think about it. We live in that country. We've lived in that country since our founding. In the rest of the world, people can only dream of the freedoms that we've enjoyed, and we, in this generation, will not allow those freedoms to be taken from us. Thank you very much.
Well, we're here to let the governor and the nation know that we're not going to back down from our constitutional rights, ever. We're not going to let him get away with ramming down our throats the most corrosive, draconian, liberty-snuffing, job-killing law I've ever seen. This law punishes us, the law-abiding citizen. Law-abiding as in, we've done nothing wrong. Let me ask you some questions. Does the SAFE Act get illegal guns off the street? No! Does the SAFE Act provide better treatment for the mentally ill? No! Will the SAFE Act keep Remington arms here in New York State? No! The governor thinks we're a vocal minority and will go away quietly and go back home and forget. No! Some of the 9 Republican senators who voted for this bill. Well, here's a promise from us I want them all to hear. We're here to stay. They're going away. We're here to stay. They're going away. They're here to stay, and they're going away.
We're here to stay. They're going away. We're here to stay. They're going away. We're here to stay. They're going away.
This law was so rushed and ill-conceived it makes criminals of our police and felons of our law-abiding citizens. Law-abiding as in, we've done nothing wrong. This bill does nothing to remove illegal guns from criminals, and that's the real problem.
Kill people!
This law will destroy the arms industry here in New York, killing another 2,000 jobs upstate. Well, let me tell you something. You guys from Remington, we're here to make sure that you keep your jobs here in New York. The eyes of the nation are watching us in New York for our response to this assault on our Second Amendment rights. This is our moment in history, and we must draw that line in the sand. This is the moment we tell our nation, honoring our Constitution is more important than following any unjust law or self-serving politician, and we'll fight it to the bitter end with our voices, our votes, and our actions. I'll talk to you as a regular citizen for 1 second. It's in our history. Civil disobedience is in our DNA. I refer you to the Boston Tea Party. I refer you to Lexington and Concord, where Paul Revere said the British are coming, but what he was saying is the British are coming to take our weapons. Remember, we wouldn't have any civil rights laws without the civil disobedience that precluded it. So what can we do now? We are fighting this law on many fronts. The NRA and the New York State Rifle and Pistol have filed a lawsuit to overturn this awful law. And we are seeing this right now in the growing list of law enforcement agencies that will refuse to carry out and prosecute this law. 50 counties in our state, out of 62 counties, have resolutions in to oppose the SAFE Act. Now you're here, and now it's okay. We are outraged. What are we going to do now? Here's 3 things that we can do. Number 1, get involved in your town committees. Our democracy and ability to throw these politicians out starts here at the local level through party committees. Number 2, volunteer. Do everything you can to help our candidates who support our cause. And number 3, vote, and bring with you 5 friends of liberty with you. At the end of the day, it's all about getting the vote, getting out to vote. Just ask Mitt Romney. Okay. Governor Cuomo's law reminds us why Thomas Jefferson stated, and I quote, "The strongest reason for people to retain the right to keep and bear arms is as a last resort to protect themselves against tyranny in their own government." This law is intolerable, obnoxious, and yes, tyrannical.
It's tyranny!
I come to Albany proudly and voluntarily as a citizen legislator. I'm a veterinarian of 25 years by trade. I leave my wife and 3 young daughters home alone for days at a time to represent my constituents up here, far from home. This law will turn me into a criminal as well, because you can bet that before I leave home to do the people's work, there will be more than 7 rounds in the magazine. God bless you all. God bless New York State, and God bless America.
Thank you. First off, thank you all for coming, and a special thank you to all the women for coming. A lot of people think this is a testosterone game here. It is not. It's a game for all of us, women, children, everybody is involved, because it's important for us as parents to take the shooting sports to our children and show them how to be safe and get them involved. And that includes, involvement of many of the women. I'm proud of all the women that are here for standing up. Great, we love it, we love it. I was interviewed by a reporter this morning, and he said, "Do you think there's any coincidence that because there's going to be so many people supporting the Second Amendment, being against the SAFE Act, that the governor is not in town today?" Well, I can't speak for the governor's office, but I said I thought it was kind of a coincidence. Sure. My understanding is the governor's down in the city and maybe out of Long Island. We need to send the message: repeal this law. Repeal this law. Repeal this law. Right?
Repeal this law!
You've got to make it hear you.
This law!
That's right.
Repeal this law!
Repeal this law.
Repeal this law!
Good.
Repeal this law!
We're going to send the message.
Law!
We're going to keep on fighting. I represent a good share of Broome County, piece of Shenango, Delaware, small piece of Otsego County. Good, honest, law-abiding citizens, good, honest, law-abiding gun owners. We are not criminals. We are not criminals here in this crowd. We refuse to be called and made criminals by taking our Second Amendment rights away. We will not stand for this. Thank you so much for being here today. We're going to stand up with you, and you need to keep standing up with us. Thanks for coming. God bless you. God bless America.
Thank you!
How's everybody doing? Okay? What a damn state we live in. Can we put all the other signs, you can put them back up, but leave those American flags up for a second, take those signs down, and everybody who's a veteran, can you raise your hand? I want American flags up, and I want the hands of the veterans. And I want everybody to be quiet for 1 second. The first thing I want to do is to our veterans, I want to thank each and every one of you. God bless you and each and every one of you for your service. A round of applause for those vets out there today. I know you Coast Guard and Air Force guys like me are starting to take your hands down. Put those damn hands back up for the veterans. Everybody be quiet for 1 second. Governor Cuomo, and I know you're watching. The only guy that watches his poll numbers more in this state than Governor Cuomo is Chuck Schumer. Governor Cuomo, everybody 1 second. Governor Cuomo, look at the hands that are up today. You're turning World War II vets, Vietnam vets, the folks that returned from Iraq and Afghanistan, you're turning these men and women into criminals. Shame on you! This governor, and I know you're not going to admit it today, and that's okay. You give him hell. But if I took a poll a year and a half ago and those polls were out there, this governor was sportsman, did exceedingly well. For 2 years, this governor focused on jobs and taxes. He told us he was a reincarnated Ronald Reagan. Now he's trying to be the second coming of Joe Biden, and he's doing a damn bad job.
He's a tyrant!
This governor is focused on one single factor. When you look at that piece of legislation that was forced through that legislature, there's blame to go around. There's one man who should take full responsibility. There's not a single patriot here. And I can tell you that I have never felt safer in this Capitol than right now. And I know the state police protecting us today can say the exact same thing. There's not a single man or woman here that wouldn't do everything in our power to protect our fellow neighbors. But this governor's focus wasn't saving lives. It was protecting his life, his political life, and the political life of a governor who wants to be president. And that was his only concern. Guys, a lot of you may wish that you were in a place like South Carolina or Texas. I don't know if you check the weather, you're not. You've got to understand, I tried. I have a priest on my staff, so I have a good connection. The sun came out. You got to understand something, and we've got to keep this fight. This is the civil rights fight of our time. You listen to me. You look at what's happening to this country. Piece by piece, legislation by legislation, administration by administration. They're taking our independence and our freedom, not through a foreign government, but through duly elected officials, through our democratic process, elected by some of our neighbors, to use our democratic process to take our freedoms away.
It's tyranny!
Our friends in states like South Carolina and Texas may think that the fight is many generations ahead. It's not. And it has just begun right here. And you have to understand that that piece of legislation that was pushed down, especially when you look towards that assembly that I spent 4 years in, I think prison is better than time in the New York State Assembly. You have members of the New York State Assembly south of 125th Street that quite honestly couldn't tell the front end of a white-tailed deer from the back end of a thoroughbred horse. But they're introducing search and seizure bills every other second to go after all of you. Why? I need you to listen, and I'm going to get out of here because I need you to understand this. You've got to understand that we live in a state for the vast majority of people, especially in the assembly that serve in that legislature, they would rather turn all of you into criminals and go after you than go after the real criminals, because they view the thugs using illegal guns that are killing kids every day, they view them as the victims. They view you as the problem. And that is what you are up against in this state. You are not here to fight for you. You are here to fight for generations ahead throughout this country, for your sons, for your grandchildren, and for this country. Because if we lose this fight, we will have lost this country. We have got to stand together, and you've got to make sure that we work with our neighbors and we wake them up to this reality. I promise you this. This is a tough, disgusting, nasty business, and I don't know how long I'm going to be in politics. But as long as I'm in politics, I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and I will fight with you until hell freezes over, and then I'll fight on the ice.
When I was a kid, this was a free country. And I asked myself, will my children and our children and grandchildren be able to say that? And there are times when I've doubted. And then I looked out today and I saw a sea of thousands upon thousands of veterans and citizens and patriots. And I know that we start turning things around today. Today's the day.
With guns protecting them right now.
A century ago, there was a great war hero and a great New Yorker who became president. And he said, very famously, walk softly, but carry a big stick. Teddy Roosevelt. I want to update that for the 21st century. Walk softly, but carry a big crowd of 10,000 freedom-loving patriots. I'm very proud of the fact that I am the only United States Marine in the state legislature. I carried a machine gun in Iraq, Japan, Ukraine, and a few other places around the world. And I learned a thing or two in the Marine Corps that our governor needs to learn. First of all, we have core values: honor, courage, and commitment.
He's a coward.
Those are the core values of the Marine Corps. And I ask our governor, honor your oath to our Constitution. Have the courage to stand up to the anti-Second Amendment special interests and power brokers. And Governor Cuomo, where is your commitment to the law-abiding gun owners in this state? Everyone knows the motto of the Marine Corps, Semper Fidelis, Latin for always faithful. And this is my final message for the governor. We're not going away. We're going to remain always faithful to each other, always faithful to our country, always faithful to our Constitution, and always faithful to the Second Amendment. Thank you very much.
First, I have to start off by just saying, wow. I honestly can't believe how many people are here, how many of you came to have your voices heard. I'm so impressed and want to thank you for coming out and standing with all of us. And thank you for bringing that sign that says, I'm a mom and a grandmother and here to defend and to protect your future and rights. As an avid sportswoman myself, I'm glad to see so many sportsmen and women here, but we all know it's not about sports rights. It's not about what some people may pretend it's about. It's about the Second Amendment, and it's about the Constitution, and it's about what makes me be proud to be an American, and I'm sure all of you. So I just want to say thank you once again, and a little shout out to the 48th Senate District. I know they came all the way from the North Country and all the way from Central New York. Thank you, because my family is one of the families that now would be considered lawbreakers. So I'm here to stand with you, and great to see everyone out. Thank you again.
This is my 27th year as a state senator. I have never seen a crowd like this at the Capitol. Governor Cuomo, you have awakened a sleeping giant, and we're not going away. The silent majority is not going to be quiet anymore. Now look, I, as a father, as a grandfather, I was as horrified as anyone with what went on out there at Sandy Hook at that school, what went on up at Rochester with our first responders being killed. I was horrified. But I understand the sensitivities of gun violence. But I also recognize the reality of gun violence. It's the criminal element, it's the dangerously mentally ill. It is not you, the responsible, law-abiding gun owners of New York State. You are not the problem. That's right! We're getting punished! And we need to respect that and to stand up for your Second Amendment rights and our rights as Americans. Now, did you see what the reports yesterday? The governor and Shelley Silver, they're talking about an amendment to the gun bill. They want to exempt the Hollywood elite. So they can come to New York, be exempt from this law, and continue to make violent movies with guns that have helped to create the culture of violence that has been part of the problem. That's right. I say, let's not exempt the Hollywood elite. Let's exempt law-abiding New Yorkers from this law. So I'm simply here to say, let's do something meaningful about gun violence. Let's get tougher on criminals. Let's deal with the dangerously mentally ill that fall through the cracks. Let's leave the law-abiding gun owners of New York alone.
Thank you all for being here. I'm State Senator Tom O'Mara from the Southern Tier and Finger Lakes region, a proud member of the NRA and Scope, and I voted no on the SAFE Act. We have never seen a crowd like this here in Albany. This is the largest crowd I have ever spoken before, and I love it.
It's only about how many are here.
We need more of this. We need more of this across the state. More of it here in Albany to do the hard work that we need to do to repeal the SAFE Act. The SAFE Act was rammed through. I waited in line here longer today to speak than I had the bill on my desk to review to vote on it. That's how fast it was rammed through. It's a terrible, disgusting process. A message of necessity for something like this to infringe upon our constitutional rights is an outrage. You know, the governor talks about taking 10 shots to shoot a deer. And I have some of the finest deer hunting in the state in my district. No self-respecting hunter would ever dream of using 10 shots to shoot a deer. And we all know it's not about deer hunting or hunting anything else. It's about our basic Second Amendment constitutional right. I'm glad you're all here. Let's keep up the hard work and this progress to do away with this unreasonable infringement on our Second Amendment rights, to do away with the unfunded mandate that it places on our county governments, and to do away with it making criminals out of our law enforcement officers because of the hasty way this was rushed through and the problems inherent in the way this law was written. Thank you very much. Keep up the hard work.
Thank you.
Senator, thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom, and thank all of you for turning out here. You know, President King was very kind. He said we had to go inside and do our job. Well, I feel our job is to be right here with you folks, doing what we're doing here today. This is important, and we thank you for turning out and showing up. We talk about Remington Arms, and thank you guys for all being here. Back home in Herkimer County, where my home and my heart is, when we go out for coffee in the morning, you might talk about the stock market, you might talk about the ball scores from the night before.
we talk about how many people are working at Remington Arms. It's a part of our culture, it's a part of our life, it's been there for 2 centuries, and it's worth fighting over. And that's why I want to tell you, yesterday, I got a letter that said that I had become a shill for the powerful and well-financed gun lobby. Now, I know you guys are powerful because I see that here today. Now, the well-financed part I wonder about, would all the millionaires please raise your hand, and somebody from my staff will come over and talk to you. But the point being, in this day and age, we cannot have a meaningful debate about a very important issue. The Second Amendment is very specific. You could read that in a shorter time than they gave us to read the SAFE Act bill when they got it. The language is clear. There is no section that says you have the right to bear arms unless somebody comes up with a better idea. It's just not there. They're reading it wrong. I'm confident Tom is going to win. They're going to win on this lawsuit. We might be in for a couple tough ones. And I will tell you, we're going to fight this every way we can legislatively. You know the numbers we face. I put a bill in that I hope will get some consideration. It would change the definition of what an assault weapon is and allow the guns that Remington makes to be sold legally here in New York. I'm pretty confident I won't get a message of necessity to get that bill through. You can almost count on that. I want to thank you all for traveling here. This is so important. You've sent a very clear message, and we're going to work to repeal this act. And you know what happened. You know why it happened. It's despicable the way this was done. And it's despicable that those opponents write me a letter saying I've been somehow insinuating I've been bought off, or that I don't have the ability to make a decision, to be able to read the Constitution myself and understand what it says. So that's what we're up against. That's what we're up against here in Albany. We thank you for traveling here and being a part of this, and the fight is just beginning. They think we're going to go away, and we're not. God bless you all. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Tom. So today we're coming before this great gathering of fellow patriots, and we're talking about our America. And I want to talk to you a little bit today about my America. First off, I want to say that my thoughts and prayers every single day go to the parents and the families of those who were lost in Sandy Hook, which inspired so much gun control talk all throughout this country. I have twin girls. They're in first grade. No father or mother should ever have to bury their son or daughter. And I hope that nothing that we do today gets misunderstood, because we are compassionate people who care about our fellow citizens. I want to share a few thoughts about my America. Today we gather on the Capitol steps here in Albany as patriots, Americans united for freedom and liberty, willing to go great lengths to defend our Constitution and the inalienable rights in that sacred doctrine, including the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. There are no problems that we face here today, only challenges and opportunity. I believe in our nation. I believe in our republic. I have and continue to be willing to lay down my life in protection of everything which makes our country great.
That's right.
Assemblyman Lalore just spoke before me, and he's a Marine. I don't hold that against him. I'm an Army guy myself, proud to him. Seems like there's more Army here than Marines, all right? I love the United States of America, and that's not something for any of us to ever apologize for. United today in the cause of liberty, I commit to you to stand with you fighting for the rights of law-abiding citizens and fighting for the safety and security of our families.
Your individual liberties are my cause to defend. Your patriotism is my cause to admire. And our Constitution is our cause to unite here at this Capitol today. Let right prevail. Let our rights prevail. Yes. From this day through our last. Let everything our founding fathers fought for be remembered, honored, and defended. That's right. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America.
Everyone, my name is Phil Palmisano. I'm the Assembly representative from the 132nd District, which encompasses Steuben, Yates, Schuyler, Seneca, and Chemung counties. Yes. Thank you for coming up here today. It's nice to have some people in Albany who actually understand, believe, and appreciate what the Constitution's all about. I was proud to be one of the members of the Assembly to vote no on this bill. There's so many people who think that once this bill passed, that was the end of it. I'm here to say, and I know you're here to say, this fight has just begun, and we're proud to stand with you as we continue this fight against this bill which violates the Second Amendment rights and turns criminals into law-abiding citizens. Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to standing with you as we move forward. We really appreciate all that you're doing and taking the time to come up here and let the second floor and let people up here know that you're not going away and we're not going to go away either. Thank you very, very much.
And let me tell you, if there's two lessons that we should have learned last month in the passage of the SAFE Act, lesson number one, eternal vigilance is the price of freedom. Lesson number two, freedom is not free. Yeah! This issue is not about hunting. It is not about target shooting. It is disingenuous for anyone to suggest that it is. It's about one thing. It's about liberty. It's about your liberty. It's about our children's liberty. It's about the future of our country. I just have one question to ask you as we stay motivated here today, and you've got a lot of people that want to talk to you and that you're going to hear from. Is anyone here ever going to miss Election Day again? No! I don't think they can hear you. No! All right, God bless you. God bless America. Keep fighting for our freedoms. Keep fighting for the Constitution. Vote, vote, vote. Pay attention. You know what's going on. An informed voter is a voter that's going to get it right. God bless you.
I'm Assemblyman John Soretto. I did not vote for the SAFE Act. I represent the counties of Niagara and a portion of Erie County in Grand Island. And you know what? I'm so thankful that you're here. And the reason why is because you have been left out of the process up to this point. And today your voices are being heard. And that's the way it's supposed to be. So I am in favor of repealing the SAFE Act because I believe your voices need to be heard. And they're being heard today. And they need to be heard tomorrow. And they need to be heard in the future. Your voices got to be heard. That's democracy and that's America. Repeal the SAFE Act. Repeal the SAFE Act. Repeal the SAFE Act. Thank you, everybody. God bless. I hear you. Thank you for being here. God bless America.
I'm a woman of a few words, but rest assured the Conservative Party stands with every single person that is here today, that we will do all that we can to repeal Governor Andrew Cuomo's New York SAFE Act. The New York SAFE Act leaves us all vulnerable to those who have no regard for law, and the way Governor Andrew Cuomo demanded it to be passed on the first day of the legislative session indicates he has little regard for the law-abiding citizens who own guns. Yeah. Repeal, not amend! Repeal, not amend! Thank you!
Okay, before we listen to anybody else, I want everybody to about face 180 degrees. Look at the second floor. Cuomo's gotta go. Cuomo's gotta go. Cuomo's gotta go.
whatever.
Don't tread on me! Don't tread on me!
We're switched on. We're paying attention. I loved it yesterday. Joe Biden. Speaking to this issue. The problem is, you know, the economy has taken so many law enforcement people off the streets. They have removed their badges and tossed them in a drawer. But he's got something on the floor of some office that we're gonna bring back, maybe 15,000 police officers. Because studies have shown with more police officers, there's less crime. Now I ask you, is there less crime because they're afraid of the badge that came out of the drawer?
No.
Or the gun on the hip?
They're afraid of the God.
Ignorance is what we're dealing with, but they think that we're ignorant. They speak for us. They know who we are. They relate to us. When our commander-in-chief steps off his private jet and gives that half-hearted, and I am being generous when I say that, salute to that fine Marine, which is a joke. Have you seen it? Does he look in the eyes of that Marine? Does he think he knows who he's dealing with? No. Because if they try to come and take this, they're going to need those assault weapons. Yep. All right. Thank you all for coming. God bless all the service members out there. God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. America is awash in violence. Our society is becoming more and more dangerous. It's becoming so bad. The level of violence, gun violence, is epidemic. Something, anything must be done. It must be true, right? I see it on TV. But what's the real truth? You know, as more and more Americans become gun owners, more and more people are buying guns, more and more states are passing concealed carry laws, more people are carrying guns to protect themselves, and this country is getting safer and safer. The level of violent crime in the United States, it goes down every year, and it's as slow as it's been in 3 decades. Yeah! They're lying to you. The government lies to advance their political agenda, and the media just eats it up, and they report it as if it's news. You guys have to stop doing that. Do your own research. Report the facts. Governor Cuomo wants you to believe that the most common, popular sporting rifles of today, or assault weapons, as he likes to call them, are responsible for an unimaginable bloodbath of carnage across our nation. We must ban these evil black military-style weapons for the sake of our children, right? But what's the real truth? And I know most of you guys know this, so I want you to turn to those media people with the cameras, those reporters, and tell them, last year in New York, how many homicides were committed with a rifle? 5. Now, because of that, you must be made a criminal. Somebody has to pay for this. You know, Governor Cuomo has a political agenda. He needs a political feather in his cap. So you have to be made a criminal. You're being lied to. You know, they tell you that if just one life is saved, it'll all be worth it. How many times have you heard that?
Too many.
What if we could get rid of all the guns? Well, you know we can't do that, because you know the bad guys aren't going to give up their guns. And from what I see today, the good guys aren't going to give them up either. But just suppose we had a magic wand. We can wave our magic wand. Poof, no more guns. Now those 20 beautiful little children at Sandy Hook, they're all fine. There's nothing wrong, right? Everybody's safe and happy. But at what cost? In this country, every year, between 800,000 and 2.5 million times, people use guns to protect themselves for a crime. So if just one life is saved, it'd all be worth it, right? But how many thousands, how many hundreds of thousands of victims do you create? Victims of rape, of robbery, of murder? No, sir, it is not worth it. You guys are being lied to. We've let them do this to us. We've let them divide us, but no more. How many times have you heard guys say, and you might have even said it yourself, you know, I don't have a pistol, or I don't have one of those black guns, you know, they'll never come take my gun. How many people still believe that? Does anybody still believe that? Because they will come for your gun. They'll take your gun, and they'll take your property, and they'll take your freedom, and they'll take your liberty, and they will take and take and take until you stand up and say, enough, no more. No more! No more! No more! No more! Well, we're gonna keep fighting. Tom, Rifle and Pistol Association, Scope, the NRA, we're gonna keep fighting. We're in this long fight for the long haul. But we can't do it without you. We need you guys. It's up to you. Stay involved. This is not the end today here. This is the beginning. This is going to be a long fight, and we need you in on it. And one last thing I want to ask of you guys. I want you to turn around there, look up there at that governor's office. Ask that little tyrant, what part of shall not be infringed don't you understand? What part? Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. First county sheriff to speak up against the SAFE Act. Here he is, gentlemen.
First, I want to start out by saying thank you for everybody coming out here and knowing that your voices are heard, that your vote does count in the state of New York and across this country. And I felt it was important for me to be here today for the people from my county because I am a constitutional officer. As a sheriff of the state of New York, and as a sheriff of the state of New York, I will never forget that. And it is my duty to follow the Constitution of the state of New York and of the United States. I just want to thank everybody for being here, and just to say that don't ever, ever give up. Always keep going, keep fighting, keep voting, and also make sure your voice is heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. How you doing? I'm Assemblyman Dennis Gaberzak. I am a Democrat, and I voted to support you. There are a number, believe it or not, there are a number of Democrats who recognize the importance of the issue and voted the way you demand that they be voted, because there's freedoms that are given to Americans. When I took my oath of office, I put my hand on the Bible, and I swore to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. And that's what each and every one of you here today are doing. It's your right, it's a freedom, and it's guaranteed by the Constitution. I just want you to know that in the 6 years that I've been in office, I don't think there's been an issue that has generated more emails to my office, more letters, or phone calls. We are right, and this is just from within my district. Members of the community within my district, we're now up over 700 emails. People in my district that vote, people that care about the constitutional freedom and their right to bear and carry arms. It is outstanding the work that you do, and believe me, we have heard your voices. This is a great collection of people from across New York State. Cheektowaga, yes! And I have to tell you one story. You just had the sheriff up here a couple weeks ago. I was out walking my dog, and the chief of police of the town of Cheektowaga happened to be walking his two dogs. And I said, Chief, let me ask you something. That law that was just passed, does that make the guns that your officers carrying illegal? Yes. What's up with that? I'm going to ask one favor from you. I'm going to ask you to put your hands up, raise your flags, and raise your signs because I want to take a picture. I'm going to put this picture up on my website. I'm going to put it on my Facebook, and I'm going to put it on my Twitter, so not only people in New York and across the nation, but across the world can see how important this is to you and everyone in the state of New York. Thank you.
USA! 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 USA!
I voted no. I told Cuomo no. I'm with you, not him. My name's Ray Walter. I'm Assemblyman from Western New York, Erie, Niagara County, the town of Amherst, and the town of Pendleton. I grew up in Sullivan County. I went to school in Livingston County. I represent you. Thank you very much for everything that you're doing today. Standing up for the First Amendment and living the Second Amendment every day of your lives. Thank you very much.
Folks, I just want to say, God bless you for being here today. I'm Assemblyman Pete Lopez. I represent Mid-Hudson, Northern Catskills, Southern Tier, 7 counties in New York State, bigger than the state of Rhode Island. And God bless you guys for all coming here today. I just want to tell you something real quick. I was on the floor when we were debating this bill, and I was a no vote as well. Yeah! When we got done with the debate, I had another assemblyman come up to me who had just voted for it. And he said he was very angry. I said, what are you upset about? You just got your bill passed. He said, I'm upset because we didn't go far enough. Do you hear what I just said? He was upset because he didn't go far enough with the bill. So I want you guys to hear this clearly, and I want you guys to hear it in your hearts and in your minds. They're coming back. They're not done. This is just the opening. And this is a big thing, and this is where we need to be together. Now, just a quick note, you probably heard many speakers, heard a lot of speakers talk about the importance of being registered. You gotta vote, that's the first thing. But more than that, you've gotta make sure that you're selecting people who are representing your views. Because if you're home and you got the smoker going, you just bagged the turkey and you got it smoking out on your deck, that's great. But if you're not paying attention to who's representing you and your views in Albany, you're gonna see your freedoms disappear. So you gotta be on, God bless you, thank you. So I had a conversation with the Christian right on these issues, and they said to me, Pete, we're gonna vote, we're gonna pray for you. I said, great. I said, thank you folks, I'll take as many prayers as I can get, but you gotta put those prayers into action. Because if you're not active, if you're not voting, if you're not part of this community and making a difference, your freedoms are gonna be gone. You'll wake up and you're gonna lose them. My grandmother had an expression, I'm gonna share this with you, I shared this with another rally, and it started off like this: oppression, conflict, freedom, abundance, apathy, oppression. And it's called as the eons go. So you start off with oppression, you get your freedom, you get the abundance that we have in this country. But if you take it for granted, you lose it. And suddenly we're prisoners again. And we're on the verge of losing our freedoms. We need you to stand up, we need you to be counted. Let's hear it from our veterans. Where are our veterans? Let's hear it. Hoorah! Okay, let's hear it from our Tea Party group. Come on, Tea Party, sound off. Let's hear it from our sportsmen. Sound off, everybody. All right, so God bless you. Stay focused, stay on point. This is endurance. This is perseverance. This is a matter of heart and mind and soul. You got to be in it. God bless you. Hang in there.
Here you go, sweetie.
Thank you. I'm 11 years old, and my whole family is a life member of the NRA. God bless America. Land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night when
Thank you.
Wonderful or what? Is that what America's about or what?